Hi, welcome to part 1 of my review featuring Lichdom. Lichdom is a solo role-playing game that you can also play with another player as a competitive experience, where you are trying to become a lich, yes, an undead mage or sorcerer. In your quest for ultimate undead power, you will make many sacrifices. You will sacrifice others and parts of yourself. Let's talk about the quality of this PDF. First, I want to talk about the Deck of Doom. This role-playing game is played by using a deck of cards. You also roll a couple of six-sided dice in most situations, but you are also going to be using these cards to determine the events and situations throughout the game. You can play this game with a normal deck of cards, but if you purchase the Deck of Doom, it's going to be more of a thematic experience. On the front of the cards, you have some pretty classical card designs with a few gothic and necromantic flourishes in some parts of the cards, as you can appreciate from some of the images that I am showing to you. And on the back of the cards, you have this circle of evocation, those that you usually see in grimoires in real life. So the deck of cards is quite thematic, quite in tune with the subject matter. Now let's talk about the quality of the rulebook of the PDF. My major criticism is that you do not have bookmarks. The table of contents is hyperlinked, but it's more comfortable to have bookmarks on the side. That way you won't have to be returning to the table of contents page all the time. So this hinders the usability of this PDF. But everything else is great. The graphic design is very clean, somewhat minimalistic. You have black and white illustrations. Some of them are classical stock images. Perhaps you have seen a few of them in some other works of fiction and games. Yet, they still work with the theme, with the unfolding story of this game. So the choice of the art is perfect in my opinion. Everything is well written and explained as well. The organization is also good. So overall, the quality is good despite my criticism. Perhaps some of you will want to print this document because it's in black and white, and because each of the pages is quite clean without a lot of graphics and such. You are not going to be spending too much ink when printing it. Now let's talk about the contents. In this solo role-playing game, you play as a sorcerer with the ambition of becoming a lich. In search of knowledge and power, you want to achieve this state of undeath because you are well aware that a single lifetime will not be enough for your eldritch and arcane studies. Your time is running out. This is a race against time. You are getting older, so you need to brave many different situations, going into creepy mausoleums, exploring forgotten crypts and ruins, to obtain the knowledge that will allow you to transform into a lich. And if you are playing with another player, that player is going to be your nemesis, just as you are the nemesis of that player. And you're going to be sabotaging each other's attempts to become liches. Now, when it comes to what you need to play this game, as I mentioned before, you need a couple of six-sided dice, but depending on different events and factors within the game, you may end up rolling more six-sided dice when it's an advantageous situation, or when something goes wrong, you will be rolling a single six-sided die. The single deck of cards, the Deck of Doom, as I mentioned earlier, this could be a normal deck of playing cards, or you could purchase the Deck of Doom. These are going to determine different events and situations throughout your story. Although this is still a game, if you would rather play with almost no rules at all, there is a special mode called the Story Mode. We will talk about that in a future part of this review. Let's talk about your descent into darkness. You can create your character by answering the questions in the chapter Seeds of Ambition. But the intention of this is only to understand who you will be playing as, and not to determine the capabilities of your character. All characters in Lichdom are sorcerers. This is a generic term for wizards, mages, shamans, enchanters, necromancers, etc. You are trying to become immortal through undeath. And you have attributes for that. You have resolve. This is a measure of how far you are from your downfall. You could think of it as a sort of hit points or energy, or health points. Your resolve increases when you succeed at adversities, but it decreases when you fail at adversities or suffer catastrophes. You start the game with a limited number of resolve points, and you lose the game when you reach 0 resolve. Then you have Doom. This represents the descent into darkness of your sorcerer. Your Doom increases when you suffer catastrophes or use corrupting powers. Your maximum resolve is affected by your Doom. Doom lowers the ceiling of your resolve, pushing you to your ruin. It works a bit like the sanity mechanic in Call of Cthulhu. That is, if you know a lot of mythos-related stuff, that is going to reduce your sanity. But in this role-playing game, Doom represents that sort of mythos mechanic, reducing your resolve, or limiting it, rather. Then you have corrupting powers. They represent the extremely powerful but vile spells and rituals that are seldom used, as the cost is always great on your soul, such as perilous deals with demons from the abyss, or dangerous rituals of necromancy. Whenever you decide to use corrupting powers, you can repeat an adversity challenge at the cost of increasing 1 Doom, using the same modifiers as in the initial roll. So maybe you are failing at a check, but you decide that you are using this forbidden ritual or pronouncing the barbarous names of this entity or demon, so you may end up succeeding at that check, but at the cost of your soul. And this concludes this part of the review. In the next part, we are going to take a look at the different results of the Deck of Doom. This game is really exciting. You get to play as this sort of necromancer on a quest to become a lich. What sorts of damnations will you go through in your quest to learn the secrets of creation and of life and death? Thank you for watching this part of the review. If you have any comments or questions, please let me know. And thank you so much to those of you that have been supporting the channel by sending drive-thru RPG gift certificates. If anyone else wants to further support the channel, the information on how to do that will be in the description below. Once again, thank you, and see you later.